Welcome to Impact Point on your number one dial, Impact Business Radio, IBR 92.5 FM. This program is where we look at issues trending in the news, actions and inactions of our political office holders, and how all these impact negatively on Nigerians. In today's edition, we will be having a focus on the 2016 budget saga. As the program goes on, we would like to have your views on the issues that attract our attention, hence are brought to your hearing. Our focus on today shall be on 2016 budget saga. 3 months after it was presented to the lawmakers by President Muhammadu Buhari, the National Assembly NAS have eventually passed the much anticipated 2016 budget, but the controversy may not be over yet. Change comes with its nuances and challenges, and this is the case with the 2016 appropriations bill, but the controversy may not be over yet. Impact Point seeks to return to the path of controversies which had been the hallmark of 2016 budget since its presentation on December 22, 2015, as both the executive and legislature continued their cat and mouse game. The adoption of reports of the Senate and House of Representatives Committee on Appropriation and the eventual passage of the 2016 budget by both chambers on March 23rd brought a relief to many Nigerians. Both chambers had announced the passage of over 6 trillion naira 2016 budget, the highest in the nation's history so far. The budget had a reduction of 17 billion naira from the initial 6.077 trillion naira proposed by the executive. Chairman of the Senate Committee on Appropriation, Senator Danjuma Guje, and his counterpart on the House of Representatives, Abdul Mumuni Jibrin, told journalists on March the 23rd that the budget had been duly passed and largely cleansed of its errors, padding, and duplication of figures. However, President Muhammadu Buhari said on Thursday in Washington, D.C., that he will critically review the 2016 appropriation bill passed by National Assembly before assenting to it. Speaking at a meeting with the United States Secretary of State, Mr. John Kerry, President Buhari said that in view of the controversial alteration and padding of the budget proposals, it needed to review the appropriation bill to be certain that its content tallied with the authentic budget proposal presented to the National Assembly. Meanwhile, former Senate Whip, Senator Roland Owe, yesterday took a swipe at President Muhammadu Buhari for saying that he will not sign the 2016 appropriation bill passed by the National Assembly into law, just as he warned that failure to assent to the bill would amount to starting a new budget presentation exercise. According to him, President Buhari has no right to tamper with the approved budget as submitted by the National Assembly, adding that he should go ahead and assent to it, stressing that refusal to sign it and remove any line from the already approved budget will amount to taking the country to yet another 5 months of going through a fresh presentation, first reading, second reading, committee stage, among others. And same goes with some Nigerians, with mixed reactions. Spoke with Impact Business Radio today on this bickering between the National Assembly and the Nigerian President on the 2016 budget recently passed. Still listening to your program Impact Points, where we look at issues that are really germane and critical to the lives of Nigerians. To discuss this with me today, talking about the 2016 budget saga, I have in the studio Honorable Sheon Morunfolu Adelore, also known as Vanusol, a public affairs analyst and a crusader of democracy and good governance. Welcome to the program.
Good afternoon, Ibrahim. Good to be here. Good afternoon, our listeners. Always good to be here.
Thank you very much for coming to the program. Let us quickly talk about this 2016 budget saga. Far away in the United States, Buhari fired a salvo, threatening that it would subject the budget to intense review after receiving it to ensure that what is eventually passed corresponds with what he proposed. Now, what is the implication of the president's refusal to assent to the budget as passed by the National Assembly?
Well, to say the fact, between you and I, if I happens to be in Buhari's shoe, I will do exactly the same. Yes, because it's as if the issue of budget in this country that is coming for the first time. It's as if we've not been having budget before, and the attention that this budget has attracted, shows that yes, things are not going to be, to be done, in a way it's been done before. You understand? And you will see that right from the start, we had that budget was missing.
Yes, that
They
was
said
very
it never missed. Now they said budget was padded. They said no pardon. They said there are discrepancies. Okay, they stopped on discrepancies, and later it took them time. You understand? I think they shifted the dates of passing the budget twice or thrice or thereabouts. Finally, they passed it. You don't expect a serious-minded president, you understand, that has been embarrassed by all of this saga before the budget was finally passed to just append the signature just like that. And they brought just ordinary paper from National Assembly to him that the budget has been passed. That was not accompanied by the details of the 17 billion they removed.
Okay.
You understand? You will see that budget is being lessened by 17 billion.
Okay.
There has to be some items made up of 17 billion that they removed, and he has to go through all that so that he will not be embarrassed, more after signing. After signing, it becomes the law. It's just a working paper. But after pending his signature, it becomes the law. So therefore, he has to go through it. Now, the time to spend on going through it must not be too lengthy. And that is why he constituted a committee while he was away to do that for him before he comes. I think he came around yesterday or day before yesterday. So we expect the president to sign it before this week runs out. And everything will come back to normal.
All right. Looking at the issue of the oath thing, the whole thing how it started, many analysts believe that the parliament erred by merely transmitting highlights of the documents, to the president, without explaining to him why it did so. Now, a development which led to immediate reactions from the presidency that the president's assent would not be given to the budget highlights. So, it was really learnt again that the National Assembly could have saved itself the embarrassment if it had sent a note to the president that it was tidying up the budget and would transmit it soon. So, do you not see the National Assembly also erring in this regard?
At different fora, I've said it, and I'll say it here again. We have a president, you understand, that is finding it difficult to make disciples, you understand, of his philosophy. It's not easy to be a disciple of Buhari.
Okay.
You understand, and it's obvious. It becomes clearer every day. The National Assembly, the people in the National Assembly and the executives headed by Buhari, they are not on the same page as far as this project Nigeria is concerned.
We are joined now by Barrister James Uzwalu. Of course, is a current affairs analyst and a regular guest on this particular program. Barrister, welcome to the program.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yeah, well, can you just tell us why you came a little bit late?
Because the inability of the federal government to make fuel available for the masses, and a lot of queue all over the Ibadan, preventing free flow of traffic in every filling station where you find fuel, and that was the reason why I was working in traffic.
I'm sure at this present time, everyone definitely will be blaming everything on the fuel scarcity, no matter how what it is. We have been discussing this on the 2016 saga, where we have Honorable Sheil Moron Folu. Should the president then sign the budgets, implement those areas he has no problem with, and then seek for amendments thereafter, as Nigerians are really anticipating its implementation?
No, I think you must go through it first. You understand? The budget has been delayed. I think there are stipulated time for the budget to, you understand. We are already done with the first quarter. This is the beginning of the second quarter. You understand? And due to the embarrassment he has suffered, you understand, for this budget, I think this happens to be the most, how will I put it? People are just getting to know about budget. It's as if we've been running this country without budget.
Without
It doesn't
budget.
attract this,
So
much.
you are saying this whole scenario as something that is really, really good and helping Nigerians to get to know about what really is budget making.
Yes, because for the first time it's good for Nigeria. We're getting involved in day-to-day running of this country. There are more platforms to talk like this. Before now, you understand, we have quite a few number.
Okay, I will come back to you, Honorable. Barrister James, how do you view the whole situation about this lingering budget, this bickering as well, and this issue surrounding the 2016 appropriation, the 2016 budget as passed by the National Assembly?
Well, I look at it as what I would describe as executive conspiracy.
Executive conspiracy.
Yes, tailored to mortgage the futures of Nigerians. And I believe that is the reason why Mr. President is taking a second look at the provisions made during.
Okay.
Because when you look at the budget that is giving us about 900 billion naira to as foreign debt, now there are 20 billion as domestic, and so much of that. You tend to ask yourself, what exactly are we having? We're having a deficit budget. And where do we, apart from the borrowing, what are the stakes in place that we tend to get money to finance the budget? Though they have been making some clarification that they are going for diversification through the diversification, especially the solid mineral area, that their diversification will be able to make them to earn more money to finance the budget. But the truth of the matter is that it's a deficit budget, a budget of almost 50% deficit to the actual expected income. So I believe he's looking at it to see how can we make amends. But for the first time, the budget emanated from his office. So I believe they will have even, first and foremost, look into it and perfect their figures before putting it forward for public consumption.
Well, regarding that, when there were much noise about errors made in the first presentation of the budget, which the president earlier denied before he was forced to accept that there are errors, and then asked the National Assembly to discard the first document and legislate only on the corrected one. Is that not the root of the whole malady?
Well, and again, I will describe it as executive incompetence, because it's an executive incompetence in the sense that this country is not a zoo where you keep animals who cannot reason and who cannot think. Even in the zoo, animal reason, you can give them banana, they will tell you they don't want it. So let alone a country where you have intellectuals, people, intelligent people. I mean, now the point is that there are some things that should not be said. For them to be saying that the budget, there were errors detected and all these things, it is a gross incompetence on their side. They shouldn't be that. You see, that is a document. That is a future. That is a document that reflects the future of a country for a whole year. And you are telling me that you didn't look at it very well, they were errors. And those errors, we have to withdraw it and look at it. So does it mean that we don't have a budget office again? We don't have a finance ministry any longer? Or probably maybe because they didn't have a finance minister for a very long time. That's the reason why probably laymen back on preparing the budget. That led to saying that there were errors there, we should withdraw it. And that was the beginning of all this budget escapades.
Okay,
led us to this.
Honorable, when we see this issue between the president and the legislature, do you not see a form of distrust between the executive and the legislature, who are supposed to work together? Because now we have the executive saying, okay, we have the budget has been prepared, although we accept the errors, and the legislature says, okay, there are more stories about the budget being padded and other things like that. But do you not see a form of distrust between the executive and legislature, and what relationship should there exist between them?
I already said it on this platform. Buhari, as the head of this executive, and the legislature that we're having now, National Assembly, it's obvious that they're not on the same page.
Are
Why?
they supposed to be on the same page?
They are supposed to be on the same page for the development of Nigeria. It should be a common goal. There are times for electioneering. Once the elections are over, it's time for business of governance. Nigerian masses are involved in this case. We are not the only country practicing democracy. They practice democracy elsewhere too. And there are times in the United States where a president will be a Democrat and majority of the House will go the other way. But when it comes to the issue that concerns America as America, they see it as being joined in the same garment of destiny. That has not been so in this case. Lots of things have been politicized. And don't forget, you understand, you know, when you are campaigning, you are singing poem. When you're on the hot seat, it's a different ball game entirely. It's obvious, it's clear. The way it's been, the issue of fuel has been handled, the way the budget has been handled. As of now, up till now, as we speak, there is no clear economic development plan for Nigeria. So there are issues. Yeah, people have been telling us to be patient. Yes, we are patient. But we cannot be patient, you know, for not knowing the direction this economy is going, and that has not been done. Yes, most of these problems have been inherited, but you know, will 10 months be too small? You understand? For somebody that wrote to power on change mantra to effect a change, that's another question for another day entirely. But it's clear that this budget, there are discrepancies in this budget. There are figures in this budget that have embarrassed, you know, Buhari, and he has owned up inside and outside of here that there are discrepancies. You understand, which ought not to be. He ought to have scrutinized. The Minister of Budget ought to have done that, you understand, before even taking it to the National Assembly in the first place. You know, if you are looking about a figure, 240 million to run cable from generator house to a guest house of vice president, that is rubbish. If you are setting aside several millions of naira to take care of wildlife in Aso Rock, if you are budgeting, you know, for Aso Rock Clinic, that is amounting to the amount budgeted for 13 university teaching hospitals in Nigeria, that is rubbish. So there are discrepancies. Now that 17 billion has been taken away from it, now there has to be details of all that before the president if he doesn't want to be embarrassed anymore, which I think he doesn't want it to happen that way. And that is why he said, because errors have been committed already, he doesn't want to be building or committing more errors. If I happen to be in his shoe, I will say I will scrutinize what the National Assembly, because there is a distrust between the two of them. It has been to and fro between them.
You know more about legislation. Let me ask Barrister James Uzualu. You are an expert at adjudicating.
Yeah.
Now, what would relationship between executive arms of government as well as the legislature arms of government be? What's it going to be? The executive arm and the legislature arm. The relationship between them, how should it be in this regard?
Yes, we have Pretoria of authorities, which like they are no chairman. The Supreme Court cases that have said to the moment against the Senate. Those are suits whereby the Supreme Court have come and said, look, the executive arm of government and the legislative arm of government must operate in separate water. Because there are even two water that pass through the same tunnel, but they can never meet. And that one should not usurp the power of the other.
Okay.
Now, as my friend said, they are not expected to usurp the power of other. They are distinct government arms. But when you come to the issues that affect the common man, they must form a common front in addressing issues of such. Okay. But the question we ask is that, is the president the one in charge of this country? Okay. That's one. Number two, are we going to say that before that document was made a public document, he never had access to it? It's after they have passed it that they have returned it to him for asset that he's saying it for the first time. Now, what is the power of the National Assembly to amend budget? Can the National Assembly amend a national budget without a recourse to the emanating base of that budget? Those were issues that created problems. And now when you look at it, there's always a draft of every document. For them to now come up and tell us that, look, it is after they have passed it, that is when they start discovering this problem. It means that the government does not have an economic blueprint to use. If you know what you want to use your money for, before that money comes to you, even as a single individual, you will plan for that money. I mean, it's a simple thing. Now you are expecting money. Sit down and plan for your money before you make it public. This is what I intend to do with my money. Then you have your corner, you have make a plan for your money. Your money now comes, somebody else is not telling you this how to spend your money. Then it becomes an issue. So I believe that the two arms of government should operate separately via the operation of separation of power in constitutional law, but in issues of budget that affect the nation, they should not. And then again, I say that we know the politics that is in the House, okay, I mean in the Senate. Now it is whether or not we have a majority, that is the APC. If the APC has a majority member or senators in the House that can lead to such manipulation. Are we not saying that it is only the few opposition members, okay, that are in the House that are now manipulating an entire government that is in power? So those are issues that common man cannot explain. And even when you are analyzing issues, you find it difficult to make comment in respect of those issues. Are we not saying that let us measure them? That is the PDP members in that house, okay, that are now manipulating the entire nation.
Barrister James,
when the APC is in power.
Let me quickly ask Honorable this question. You say something about Buhari being very careful, implementing this. I mean, assenting to this budget. Now, former Senate Whip, Senator Roland Owe, yesterday took a swipe at President Buhari for saying that he will not sign the 2016 appropriation bill, but stressing that refusal to sign it and remove any line from the already approved budget would amount to taking the country to yet another 5 months of going through a fresh presentation. What's your take about this?
There are procedures, you understand. Of course, there is a stipulated time of which a budget can pass through National Assembly. It's not as if it should go on forever like that. I think the guy is talking about the timeline, you understand? And that if Buhari continues to wait and foot dragging about appending his signature to this and the time lapse, it will render that document useless. That means we begin again. And I think Buhari is aware of that. You understand? And the people around him are aware of that. There are issues here, you understand? If we are talking about APC being a majority, APC is a confluence of people, that are sharing, different values, but they have common interests. It's become clearer to Nigeria now. You have most of past governors in PDP now in APC. We have no values, around party line in Nigeria. So don't even come to it from the point of view of APC and PDP. There are 65 standing committees in Senate. Most of the chairmen of all those committees went to PDP. That is not done anywhere. Even in United States, you have to have your men as the chairman of committees to, if only to drag, if only to pursue your agenda, if only to, you understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
And the same thing goes for the people in House of Rep. So there are issues. We have issues in Nigeria in all of this. They are just trying, it's like learning on the job.
Right.
No blueprint. It's clear there is no blueprint for economic policy concerning this in Nigeria. Now, in not to build upon the errors being committed already, you understand? You will see from the look of things, from the body language, Buhari will not be somebody that will sit and approve 240 million for laying cables.
But he's also
But they got
accused.
it in there, you understand? Because, all these budgets are being prepared from MDAs and all that. We are talking about a very voluminous booklet, like
Okay.
300 pages.
Let us look at it from this angle. Mr. President is also accused of not listening to advice from the Minister of Budgets and National Planning, and of course, former Senate Chief Whip, Senator Udo Udoma, and his special assistant, Senator Ita Enang, who is also very knowledgeable on National Assembly matters. Or is it that he may not be taking their inputs?
I've said it many times, but Buhari appears to be a very difficult person to work with. Most of all these ministers that we expect that we perform magic, they are not doing anything, probably because out of fear, probably because they are timid, probably because they don't want to step on president's toes. Lahi Mohammed has been out several times to say something, and presidents will tomorrow say another thing. You will see that there is some suspicion, some fear, you understand, from performing. The ministers you are talking about, they are not taking risk. They don't want to come up with any policy. They are watching.
Are you now describing the loyalty to the president as being a kind of thing where they are not really looking at what they are doing?
It's
but
not
they
supposed
just want
to
to
be.
dance to the tune of the
It's
president
not.
at all times.
It's not supposed to be so. You understand? It's not supposed to be so. And from the look of things, I think he's beginning to play it down a little bit. I said it when I first started talking, that to make disciples of Buhari's philosophy is a very difficult thing. All these people have been used to opulence and all that. This
James.
doctrine is not easy to buy overnight.
Barrister James, are you on the same page with the analysis of Honorable Shield?
Well, the truth of the matter is that most of the ministers, do not forget, they have served in one way or the other, and many of them have not been probed to know whether they were just and pious when they were in charge of public funds. So many of them may or must, in one way or the other, they have soiled their hands. So they will be careful not to do some things or make some pronouncement or anything that will necessitate, look, you are hereby fired out of this government, and consequently to please look at his books. And when the books are looked into, the next thing that is into EFCC net. So because of that, it takes God to really breathe into them. For a few of them that have been pious in handling a public fund.
Let me
But
go
if not, I can assure you, there's out of them they are going to be cocked up and they will never perform.
Well, while we anticipate the calls, if this bickering on budget signing lingers for long, do you foresee any revolt from Nigerians?
Well, no, it will not. It will not linger any.
Because Nigerians are anxious. They are impatient about these budgets. When is it going to be implemented?
It's not even about budget alone. We're only agitating about budget. Yeah, it's good if it is passed into law. You understand? A barrister already said that we're talking about, a budget that has about 2.2 trillion, deficit in it. And we're looking for about 980 domestic borrowing and 900.
Okay, we have somebody on the line.
External borrowing.
I've been speaking with Honorable Sean Morofolo Adelore also known as Honorable Banuso, and then Barrister James Oswalu. Yes, Barrister, you were actually sharing your comments on what you think Nigerians would definitely do if this bickering goes on.
Yes, the truth of the matter is that for now, there is no fuel in Nigeria. Nigeria workers cannot go to work because there's no fuel.
Okay.
Now, we already have the depreciation of Naira. Anywhere you go now, even an illiterate market woman will tell you that dollar thing one. And all this affect Nigeria workers. Do not forget that before now, it is not market women or the common people that always cause revolt or go for public march.
All right.
It is workers and the civil society when the heat becomes too much or becomes unbearable for the people. And very soon, you see some states are unable to pay salary of their workers, and so many team projects lie dead, and the debt keeps increasing. So these are things that can create a psychological trauma for the people, and this will trigger a sociological disturbance whereby the community will become agog and everybody will start running around. And for instance, we have some state now, workers giving them ultimatum that they are going on strike.
Yeah.
And before you know what is happening, and if this money is not coming, and you cannot be releasing money continuously by appropriation, you appropriate today, you release, and without a clear-cut budget to be able to meet up. And very soon, everything, if they are not careful, if this government is not careful, this thing can get out of hand. And before you know what is happening, you see civil society, our workers going on the street to protest.
Let us quickly look at the president fight against corruption. How do you describe the president fight against corruption? His body language about it?
From his body language, you will know that he has zero tolerance to corruption. You are talking about a man that he was barely 40 in 1980 when he came to power. He had all the opportunities to enrich himself, and up till now you don't get to see his name on the board of all these blue chip companies. He's not the chairman of any companies. You don't get to associate any filling stations to him. He has no house in London.
Okay.
That is very unusual. He happens to be like the poorest president living in Nigeria now. And having said that, a fight against corruption and starvation, they are not mutually exclusive. Because you are fighting for corruption, people must not die. That is my grouse with it.
Okay.
The fight against corruption, yes, we're
Are you saying the president fight against corruption is affecting Nigerians inadvertently?
It appears as if he's taking 80 or 90% of his energy, of the energy of this government. And if you look at it critically, nobody has been prosecuted. Nobody has been brought to book. Nobody's yet to go to jail.
These people the president is fighting
Right.
are actually stashing our money, our funds abroad, and it's really helping them in other countries rather than helping Nigeria. So do you not see that the president is taking a bold and a very good step to fight against corruption?
Yes, he's doing. I already said it. He's doing a good job. A
But you said
fight
that it's
against
affecting
corruption.
Nigerians.
Yeah, fight against corruption. I said is not mutually exclusive with starvation. People must not die because you are recovering loot. Yes.
Okay,
They are not mutually exclusive.
we have
As you are
just,
fighting for corruption, you must look for ways of putting food on the table of Nigerians.
All right. Okay, that is the reason we are also talking about all these things. Barrister James, President Buhari sought and received an assurance from Mr. Kerry, Mr. John Kerry, that the United States government would facilitate the repatriation of all stolen billions of dollars Nigeria funds found within the American banking system. Do you see this fund arriving anytime soon, or just a promise from John Kerry?
Number one, it is a promise, and it is also a bilateral talk. And I believe if there is a, they should give us our money. So, and most of the time, do not forget that Americans, they swim in Western democracy and sarcophagus, and they can do that to anybody. And let's believe that they will be honest to repatriate this fund. But I don't, I see that
It's not really coming forward.
a far prophecy.
Okay, what do you say to that? Quickly, I mean, we don't have time again. What is it?
Along the same line, because John Kerry is just Secretary of State, is not the president. And that's a promise, and I don't know how easy it will be, to enter into United States Treasury and just take money and say this is the money stolen by Africans or Nigerians, and then we're repatriating it, back to Nigeria. I don't know how easy that would be, but it's a promise. But concerning all other bilateral relations, we will enjoy United States at this time.
All right, thank you very much for coming to Impact Points on Impact Business Radio, IBR 92.5 FM. I really appreciate your appearances. Thank you very much. We hope that when we call on you some other time, you'll definitely oblige.
Definitely.
All right, I've been speaking with Barrister James Uzualu, Current Affairs Analyst. Of course, you had a barrister. Then Honorable Sheon Morofolu Ade Lore, also known as Banuso, a Public Affairs Analyst and a crusader of democracy and good governance. We pray that Nigeria becomes that giant of Africa, not only giant of Africa, but giant of the entire world, as we all pray to be. Many thanks for listening. My name is Ibrahim Shita. When we come back again to talk about things that are really, really very important in Nigeria's life.